Hello viewers, welcome back to another episode. Today I am going to talk more about the steps to prepare for personal interviews. I'm a bit pumped up today because I have got some good responses. Those who watched my previous video, things will be very easier for them to understand because whatever I am going to explain today, that will be in continuation to my previous slides. But before I start off, let me remind you once again, if you like my video, please give me a thumbs up, share my video on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, wherever possible, and please do subscribe to my channel. So without wasting any time, I will quickly take you through my previous slides. Firstly, I talked about the objectives behind taking up an interview, where I talked about several things from the perspective of an interviewer, several things from the perspective of an interviewee. Then in the next slide, you will see the things you have to have in order to appear for an interview. Plenty of things: knowledge, personality, leadership skills and communication skills. These are the things which you have to have in order to appear for an interview. Then in the next slide, I told you about the pre-preparation for interview. What are the things you have to do before you face an interview? Go through your resume thoroughly, anticipate questions and prepare questionnaire with proper answers. Check the website of the organization and make a note of all the latest updates about the organization. Read the job descriptions which are given to you. Understand the organizational requirements and your role, how you can contribute to the organization. Make a detailed research on current industrial issues. Then I talked about body language, which is very important while you are facing an interview. So that was it in my previous video. Now I will be going further. So today's first point is the formal dress up for girls. So girls, please take a look at it very seriously. The first thing is you have to have a clean and professional hairstyle. Why clean and professional hairstyle? Because some girls are having long hair, so they should tie up their hair properly. Second thing is light makeup is advisable, and if you want to wear jewelry, yes you can, but very little. And if you are using body spray or perfume, the fragrance should be very mild. And yes, preferably a white long sleeved shirt you should wear, and on top of that a blazer or a suit. And if you are putting on knee-length skirt, then a neutral colored stocking is highly preferred. And yes, last but not the least, the shoes should be absolutely formal. So this is how you have to dress up yourself. And yes, of course, if you are having short hair, then you can have this particular style. And don't panic, if you don't want to be in western outfit, you can simply put on salwar or kurti, whatever looks good on you. If you are comfortable in that, you can put on salwar or kurti. Some girls are not comfortable in western outfit, so salwar or kurtis will be ideal for them. Now let's talk about boys, how they can look good while facing an interview. Now if you have a look at this picture very minutely, you will understand how you need to dress up yourself before you face an interview. You can either have a formal look, which is this one. Otherwise you can have a semi-casual look, which is this one. But yes, few things need to be kept in mind. Once you get into the hall, the meeting hall, you are not supposed to keep your hands inside your pocket. And something about your shirts and pants I am going to talk about. There should not be wrinkles in your shirts and pants. It should be properly ironed. Your hair should be properly combed. Your nails should be properly trimmed. And yes, if you look good, that will create a good impression in the minds of the interviewers. My friends, if you look good, 50% job will be done before you actually introduce yourself. Yes, there are plenty of other factors as well behind the selection. We'll talk about that too. But as of now, let's highlight more on do's and don'ts. A very important point is mentioned over here. Make sure your outfit is free of wrinkles and stains. Your hair and nails are well groomed and your shoes are well polished. See the way this man is dressed up. It is absolutely lackluster. Pants are too short. It doesn't match with the jacket. And see the way this man is dressed up as well. Untucked shirt. It is not at all advisable. See the way this man is dressed up. So these two are not ideal way how you need to carry yourself while facing an interview. These two are the ideal ways. If you are not having a jacket or a suit or a blazer back home, then you can have a semi-casual look. But yes, your hair has to be properly combed, your shoe should be properly polished, your nails should be properly trimmed. If you are looking good, then definitely it will have a great impression in the minds of the interviewers. So let's get on with the topic. Let's move on to the next slide. How to introduce yourself. My friends, plenty of times we introduce ourselves in an awkward manner. Beginning is hugely important. Never mention things like, hey, this is XYZ. Always say, hi, I am XYZ. This is the conventional way of speaking. Mention your qualifications in a proper order. I am giving you a classic example of this. Suppose if you are a postgraduate or you are holding a master degree, so mention that at first. Then mention your graduation followed by your 12th and 10th. This is the way how your qualifications should be mentioned. Next thing is your work experiences. Whichever company you are working in at present, mention that at first. Then your previous work experiences. Next is if you are having a good deal of work experiences or you have achieved something unique in your work life, then mention that proactively in the introduction itself. Before the interviewer asks you something about your previous job roles, mention those things proactively. It will help you at a great extent. Mention something about your family members in brief. What your mother does, what your father does. If you are having siblings, mention something about them. Next is the hobbies. Very important part which we tend to ignore. Be very precise over what you mention about your hobbies. If you mention your hobbies as playing football or watching football, you have to be very well versed with the knowledge of football. So be very careful about that. And last thing is, describe yourself as a person in 1 or 2 lines. Something about your characteristic features, some positive points, some strengths of yours. These are the things to wrap up the show on a good note. We'll move on to the next part. Typical questions asked during the HR round. First thing is, tell me something about yourself, which is a very common question. Now the same thing can be asked in a different way. Now if the interviewer asks you, bring me up to date with your CV, it holds the same meaning. So same thing can be asked in multiple ways. The interviewer might ask you, can you please take me through your CV? This also holds the same meaning. So same thing can be asked in different ways. Next question, which is typically asked by HR, what made you opt for this course? Suppose you are doing a master's. You are doing a master's in human resource management. So HR might ask you what made you opt for this particular course or what got you interested in building up a career in this field. So in this case, how will you reply to the HR? Something you find interesting in your field, you have to highlight in front of the HR. Something interesting according to you. Why should I appoint you for this role in our organization? That means why should I hire you? This way, interviewer actually wants to see the positive attributes in your characteristic features, how you can contribute to the organizational needs. Suppose you are having great deal of skills, but you worked for a completely different sector at past. I am giving you a classic example of this. Suppose you worked for hotel industry at past and now you are applying for e-commerce sector. So your experience in hotel industry will not be having any kind of relevance to the job requirements of e-commerce sector. So that is something I want to mean over here. Why should I appoint you for this role in our organization? That means you have to highlight some of your positive attributes or positive qualities. And by virtue of those positive qualities, you can contribute to the organizational needs. Now next question, which is typically asked during the HR round, is some of the strengths and limitations in your characteristic features. This appears to be a straightforward question, but this is actually a tricky one because you got to mention your limitations in a diplomatic manner. Mention your limitations in such a manner so that The interviewer doesn't have any kind of negative impression about your characteristic features. And strengths mean we all know some of our positive attributes, some of our qualities. And the last part is, what would you consider your major achievements to date? Major achievements means some of the major achievements in your work life. So these are the typical questions asked during the HR round. So today I am going to give you all an assignment. Mention in the comment box some of the strengths and limitations in your characteristics. Like I have already mentioned, this is a very challenging question for all you people, and don't worry, I will make separate videos on how to answer these questions. I will make separate videos on this, and I will comment you people back as well. So please comment me some of the strengths and limitations in your characteristics. And yes, if you are liking my videos, do subscribe to my channel. It will further boost me up to create new videos. And if you are liking my videos, share it as much as possible on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, wherever possible. So that's all for today. Stay healthy, study hard, work hard, do take very good care of yourself. Bye bye.